Hello and welcome to Relatively Crafty, a knitting podcast. I'm your host, Christy. I come to you from the Denver area of Colorado, where I live with my husband, Ron, our two daughters, Tatum and Delaney, our tuxedo kitty, Lilu, and our Podengo puppy, Sophie. Welcome. You'll have to excuse my sock line, if you will. I did sock laundry yesterday, and I haven't put them away yet. So they're sitting there on my thing. By the way, that is probably the best investment that I made on Amazon. I bought this contraption, and it is great for drying your hand knits. It just, it's perfect for, got lots of places to put all your socks and sweaters, and you can even dry shoes down there on those little black thingies, and yeah, I like it a lot. If you were looking for me on Ravelry, I am Christy-Layel, and on Instagram, I am Christy-Layel without the dash. I've got the spellings of those down below in the notes, and this is a knitting podcast, so I'm going to talk about the things that I have finished recently and the things that I am currently working on. Okay, so first let's talk about some FOs. These are right in front of me, so I'll talk about those the first, but they are the most recent FO, and that is this pair of Christmas socks. I just finished these on Friday, I believe, Thursday. This, if you are new to the podcast, I am knitting myself 31 pairs of Christmas socks to wear every day in December, and I got close last year. Like I started in, I think, 2019. Last year I had up to 26 pairs, and I wore them, not up to, I had 26 pairs. I wore them the 1st through the 25th, and then on New Year's Eve of December. And I then, of course, only had like 5 more pairs to make, but I have, I've taken 2 pairs out, 2 of them that just didn't seem Christmassy enough to me. So I have to now make more, but that's okay because I want them to be all very Christmassy. And then I took like 3 months off because I was burned out on Christmas socks. These are about all that I knit last year, pretty much, was just Christmas socks, and I just didn't want to knit another Christmas sock when it came to January, so I took a couple of months off, and I just started these a couple of weeks ago and worked on them like at work, and little bits here and there, not real. I didn't put a lot of effort into them, but they were just something that I worked on when I needed just something quick and mindless. So these are out of Brew City Fibers, Brew City Yarn Company. The colorway is Silver Bells, and I did them with my normal recipe, a Turkish toe cast on, fish lips kiss heel, and 1x1 ribbing with Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off. They turned out very lovely, and I am keen to get back into my Christmas socks. I have another pair on the needles right now, which I will show you in whips. And then I also have yarn. I wound yarn yesterday, so I have wound yarn, all the other yarn that I have. So these 2 are Northwood Fibers, excuse me. I think this is Hallmark Christmas, and they're both tweed bases. And this is, I think, Farmhouse Christmas. This one I fell in love with. You know, it's got these dark woodsy colors, and I just think it's gorgeous. And the tweed makes such a big difference. And then I have this, which was Knitterly Things Christmas sock, Christmas colorway last year for Simply Sock Company. I think it's called Tis the Season, maybe. It was a kit. It was a skein of yarn, some stitch markers or progress keepers, and I don't think you can see, maybe that there, right there, those little Christmas trees, that bag that came along with it. So it's a self-striper. These are also self-stripers, And then I also have this one skein of Lana Grossa in colorway 6751. So that's what I have. I'm going to need to get another skein or two, but July is coming soon, and there's always a Christmas in July sale someplace. So yeah, I don't see a reason for me not to be able to get all of the Christmas socks done this year, and have 31 pairs by December, and then I can, you know, really wait and find colorways that really speak to me in the future, ones that are like this one. This one just blew my mind because it was, I mean, it's Christmas. It's obviously very Christmas, but it's different. It's not all the same. Sometimes they all look the same, and this one was something new, and so something new, but also traditionally Christmas, because I know that a lot of people do new stuff. I mean, there is no lack in ingenuity and creativity amongst the fiber community. The people are coming up with amazing things all the time, just all the time. So I see all kinds of really cool Christmas colorways, ones that follow, hot chocolate, or the Nutcracker, or gingerbread houses and stuff like that, and they're gorgeous. I love them, but I am looking for traditional Christmas colorways. I know I'm being picky, but yeah, I want them to be traditional Christmas, yet still have that little je ne sais quoi. So, all that to say, I expect to have 31 pairs done at the end of the year, by the end of the year, and then also be able to switch them out with new stuff when I find something that just blows my mind. Like you cared, right? That was, sometimes I just ramble on, and then I'm like, why does anybody listen to me? Just talking. I have one more pair of socks done, and it is a pair that I think I had started when I podcast last, which I think was in February. It is April 11th, and so I'm trying to get back into the habit of podcasting. My work schedule has calmed down a little bit, but not as much as I would like it to. I'm still working more than 50 hours a week, but I'm having more and more weekends off. In fact, it's now become usual for me to have the weekend off instead of usual for me to work the weekend. So that's kind of nice. But anyway, I did this pair. This is the Tabby Tug pattern. I will link my project page down below so you'll be able to see that. This is a paid for pattern, and I absolutely love it. I have decided that this is the pattern that I'm going to use for my shorty socks from now on. I just really love it. I also really like the Rose City roller pattern, but for that one to work for me and not have the socks fall into my shoes, I need to do a heel flap, or I need to make the socks higher. These are nice because they, this part here sits below my ankle bone. But as you can see, I can do a short row heel, and this tab just makes all the difference, so it doesn't fall down in my shoes. This pair actually isn't for me. This is for Delaney. I had intentioned for these to be for me, but I found that for some reason with this yarn, this is Regia Baby Smiles, my first Regia. They come in 25-gram skeins, and while I can get a pair of shorty socks for myself out of 50 grams, I for some reason couldn't get it out of this yarn. So I think it's just a little bit thicker, but I just didn't have quite enough to to finish a full pair of socks for myself. Delaney's feet are a little bit smaller than mine, so yeah, I made them for her instead. She's excited. She loves hand knit socks. So so these will go to her, and she will enjoy them. And we're now starting to get some warm weather, although winter's not quite ready to go quietly into that dark night, or however that quote goes, because we're, like the other day it was 70 degrees, but we're supposed to get snow in I think Wednesday. So it's not quite over yet. It's still holding on a little bit, but we are getting warmer days, and so I've been able to wear some of my Tabby Tugs that I showed you in my last podcast, and I love them, and so I need to make some more because they're just comfortable and they go great with my chucks, yeah. Anyway, I have one more FO to show you that I FO'd, and it is my Dark Water, which is a pattern by Jennifer Steingass, and it's gorgeous. I mean, just gorgeous. Look at how beautiful this sweater is. I am so proud. Oops. I am so proud of how it turned out. I love it. Colors are amazing. Gosh. I mean, look at how just this chartreuse. Oh my goodness, it just, these are Chasing Rabbits. This was a colorway that she was commissioned for my local yarn shop, which is Colorful Yarns in Centennial. I think it is called like Colorful July or something like that. It's just the most beautiful colorway. I just absolutely love it. And then this is also Chasing Rabbits, and it's Indigo is the colorway. That is a nice dark navy. It goes really well with the speckles in this chartreuse, and I just love it. I used the indigo on the sleeves. You can see I did a folded cuff on the sleeves. I also did a folded cuff on the hem. I followed the pattern pretty much exactly, except for that I did a folded cuff on the collar as well. Love it. The pattern was well written. I really enjoyed it. By the time I was really over with doing the color work, it was time to get into, the stockinette. It did take me a long time to get this sweater finished because I kept getting pulled away to do other things. And, when you get onto Body Island, you get kind of bored. Just round and around and around stockinette with no shaping. You see there's no shaping at all. And I finally got to the point where I'm almost done. I could just power through and I can finish it, and then I can finally wear it. I was so excited, and I bound off and I tried it on. It doesn't fit me at all. It's much, much too small. Womp, womp, womp. There was nothing to be done. It's too small. It took me too long to knit. I had mentioned several times that the sleeves were too tight. I'd known that, but I thought, well, I'll finish the body and maybe I'll let it sit for a while and then I will redo the sleeves, but the body is too small as well. And it's entirely my fault. I did not do a gauge swatch. Why I didn't do a gauge swatch, I have no idea, because I'm lazy. Because, 2/3 of the time it works out fine. I don't know. But I didn't, and it didn't fit. And then I was like, well, what am I going to do with it? Because even, let's say that I lost, 50 pounds, which would be awesome. I still don't think it would fit. It's that much too small. So I thought, well, I can hang it. I have this sweater, my Tega, that during the off season I have it sitting in my hanging on the wall in my room because it's just so pretty and it's bulky and it's kind of, you know, in the way all the time. So I hang it here. And I don't know, yeah, you can see there, I have that sock that's on a blocker, and that just hangs on the wall because I didn't like the way it fit, so I didn't make the second one. And I'm like, you know, well, I suppose I could hang this, just have it be wall decoration. It is super pretty. Um, some people suggested that I give it to my daughter, Delaney, who, you know, it would fit. But Delaney's hard on things, just on things in general. And she's 13, you know. And I don't mind that she's hard on the sweaters that I make for her because I make them out of things that I'm okay with that being hard on. But this needs to be loved and adored and taken care of, pampered. This is a sweater that needs to be just treated well, right? And Delaney won't do that. I mean, I love her, but that's not who she is. So I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Well, as we were driving to my mother's house for a family dinner, I realized that my aunt is about the same size as Delaney, and this would fit her lovely. And she would treat it the way it deserves to be treated. And she had oohed and awed over the colors several times. She loves colors like me, and so I asked her if it would fit. I asked her to try it on. Here she is in it. It fits her perfectly. So I asked her if she'd like it. It was hard. It was hard to say, hey, do you want this beautiful sweater that I love to have for your very own? But she was like, really? Can I pay you for it? No. My aunt makes me so many bags that I am in her debt for ages. So I told her, please, no, let me use this as partial payment for some of the sewing stuff that you do for me. So anyway, it is now going to her. I brought it back so that I could podcast about it and block it, which I've done. So now when I see her again, she can have it for her very own, and I hope that she will really enjoy it and get a lot of use out of it. So there it is. Now, as I have made known, I'm in love with the colorway. I have a Mostal left over, and I think I will go to my local yarn shop, which is, if I haven't said before, Colorful Yarns in Centennial, see if they have any more skeins of this, and I will buy them, and I will make myself a sweater out of this, because again, this colorway is just gorgeous. Well, that's my plan. And then I did, and then I did say I had one FO that wasn't my FO. It is actually a quilt that my mom made that I wanted to show you guys. For Christmas, I bought her all the pieces for this gorgeous quilt because I fell in love with it. I went to there's a quilt shop here, I think it's called Holly's Quilt Cabin in Centennial, and I went by there and they had this on the wall, and it was like they had came with a center panel, and originally they had a kit, but they didn't have the kit anymore. They only had the center panel. So I went through the shop and found material to fit all the other pieces, and I gave it to my mom. And it was, like, here's all the supplies you need. to make this gorgeous quilt. And I would not be upset at all if you decided that you wanted to make the quilt for me, because I love it, Mom. So would you please? And you know how it is with knitting. The entertainment that we get often is in the process of the knitting. I am not a product knitter. I am a process knitter. I really enjoy knitting, and so I am. I feel like it wasn't as selfish as maybe it sounds, because she got to enjoy making the quilt. And she didn't have to give it to me, and she knew she didn't have to give it to me, but like anybody else who makes something with their own hands, after a while you end up having too much of the thing yourself, and you don't need any more, and so you start looking for people to give them to. That's the way it is with Mom and Quilt. See, unlike sweaters or socks, which you can wear different every single day, a quilt, you're kind of stuck. You can only use so many quilts. You only have so much walls to hang it from, and you only have so many beds to put it on. So she's at this point, she makes quilts all the time. She's a retired woman. That is her hobby of choice, and she's got a long arm, so she even gets to do special things with them, and she's just got too many. So I'm not a terrible daughter. I feel like it sounds like I'm a terrible daughter, but I'm not. I swear. She says I'm not. She wouldn't lie to me. Anyway, here is the quilt. I've had it for a little while, but I forgot to show it on my last podcast. I hope you guys can see all of that. Anyway, so this cardinal bit, that was the center panel. And I just loved it. I love pops of color. And I picked out just bits, I picked out the material for this panel and for these bits, and then this is the back. And here is her, I don't know if you can see her quilting. Oh, well, she did the fancy quilting on the border. There you go. Anyway, I love it. It's not bed-sized. It's like twin bed size, but we have a queen. So I'm not sure yet what we're going to do with it. I'd love to hang it, because I'd love to have it on display all the time. Unfortunately, I am the daughter of a quilter, and so I have a lot of quilts too. But thankfully, now that it's warming up, we've taken the comforter off of our bed. In fact, we did that today. And so now there's a quilt on our bed, and I can kind of switch the quilts out as it gets warmer. It's a winter theme, I know, but I don't know. I'll figure out something to do with it. It's gorgeous. I need to show it. Okay, almost done. I've only got 2 whips, and I have no. I have acquired nothing. I get through, I go through. I don't know if you guys are like this, but I go through phases where I want to buy all of the yarn, and then I don't want to buy any of the yarn. So right now I'm in an I don't want to buy any of the yarn. I see ads for sales and stuff like that, and I'm like, yeah, but I kind of already have a sweater quantity in that color, and I already have sock yarn that looks just like that, and gosh, I have so much yarn that needs to be knit, so really, do I need to buy more yarn? And yeah, so right now I kind of want to knit all the yarn, which is good. And with the exception of getting another sweater quantity of this, there's not much that I want to buy. So, but I do have some bags that my aunt made me. I'll show you those at the end. But as I said, I have 2 whips. This is my next Christmas sock whip. So we're looking at, reds and aquas. And this yarn is one that I bought from Simply Socks last year. They had a big Christmas sale, and I think I got like 6 skeins. It is stitched together in their Frugal Fingering base, which is 100. I've never noticed that before. It's 1,000% superwash merino. In the colorway Jingle Batch number 6. So yeah, this is the project that is on my purse at all times. I always have it attached to my purse, and I just work on it whenever I have time. Don't work on it during lunch at work, and when I go to an appointment or whatever, and it'll eventually get done, and then I'll work on the next one. And then lastly, I have my Camaro. In January, I just collected all of my whips together and decided that I wanted to get through them. So this was one of them, and I got that finished. And then the next one is the Camaro. You guys might remember that last year I knit a Camaro while we were in quarantine. It wasn't exactly what I wanted, so I decided to make it cropped and short-sleeved and then use the leftover yarn to make another one. I picked up a couple extra skeins to add some colors and made some slight adjustments and cast it on and then stopped. So I have gotten back into that, and I am making good progress on it now. So it's on a tiny needle down at the bottom. It's only a 14-inch needle, but I'm just doing round and round and round stockinette now. So yeah. So you can see I added some colors. This purple mauve color and this dark grayish, those were not in the original. Everything else was, and I've just used the leftovers. With the other one, I stopped, where the body stops, where the stripes stopped on the body, that's where I stopped on the sleeves. This one I have done stripes on the sleeves all the way down, and I have put them on waste yarn at this point because I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the sleeves. I wanted to make sure I had enough yarn to finish the body, because I only had 2 skeins of this. This is all made out of nerd string. And I only had 2 skeins of this gold left, like 2 and a quarter skeins. So I wanted to make sure I had enough to do the body completely. If I don't, and I still don't know if I will use what I have left over of these colors on the hem. I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing at this point. I'm just kind of going until I run out of yellow and then making a decision at that point. I still have quite a lot of the 2 new colors. I do not have a lot of the others, but these are about 3/4 sleeves at this point, so I could just finish them off and be done. I don't know. We'll see how I get, but I do really like how it's turning out. I've done all the fun parts at this point, so now it's just finishing up the stockinette for the body. This is a really fun pattern, by the way, this with stripes. And the way that the increases are done, and then the way that you deal with the V that you have, because it does make a V because of the way the increases are done. It's fun. It keeps it really entertaining. And then you only have, the little bit of solid down at the bottom, left to do. And so it's a really great one for somebody who gets bored, because these are about 9 rows each. So every 9 rows I was changing yarn. Now that does mean that I have a lot of ends to weave, but I'm not too worried about it. So yeah, I have this much yellow left. I might do the entirety of the hem. I have lots of this one, and I could do the entirety of the hem with that. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm enjoying it and kind of working on it when I get home from work. Get a couple of rows done each evening, and yeah. The next big project that I work on after I finish the Camaro, that's Camaro by Tanis Lavallee, by the way, will not be a whip, but it'll be something that I'm going to cast on new for my mom. She purchased this yarn, which is gorgeous. This is another Chasing Rabbits fiber, and it's dyed using this technique. There's another skein of it in a different color, but same technique. So it's mostly gray with this just pop of color here, which kind of, in socks and in everything, it makes little blips of this rainbow. So I'm making a sweater for my mom. It's going to be this one, and I'm excited about it. She's been waiting patiently for it, so that will be my next project, and then I'll probably go back to the sweater whips that I have. I have 2 more sweaters that I have cast on and need to get finished. But by that time, it will probably be summer, and so I will probably want to knit something summery for myself to wear to the office. If you follow me on Instagram, I've been taking a picture of myself every day in the bathroom at work. And then posting them on Fridays, and it's actually, I really enjoy doing it. It's kind of silly and stupid, but it gives me a reason to put some effort into getting dressed every morning, because in the morning I don't really want to. And it just makes me feel good about myself. Yeah, I don't know if anybody enjoys looking at the pictures, and I don't really care if people enjoy looking at them, because it's really more for me. But yeah, it does. It's doing nice things for my self-esteem. And yeah, I kind of like that. My physical self-esteem is not the best all the time, and so yeah, it makes me feel good about myself. It doesn't hurt anybody. So I talked about bags that my aunt made. Let me get those, because I've had those for a while too and haven't shown them to you. I come from a terribly talented family. The reason why my podcast is called Relatively Crafty is because I come from this family that can do all these things. My mom can quilt and make all kinds of things. She makes all of my product progress keepers. My uncle is a great handyman and can basically build anything out of wood that you need. He also has got some amazing fashion sense and did the flowers for my wedding. My aunt, the one that got the sweater, she made my wedding dress. She's a seamstress like you wouldn't believe. She's also one of those ones that can just look at something and make it. My grandmother was a great a cake decorator. I mean, and my grandmother crocheted, although I didn't learn from her, obviously, because I just learned last year. Anyway, I come from this very crafty family, so we are relatives and we're crafty, but I am not as crafty as any of them. I am only relatively crafty, in that I can knit, and I can knit well, but that's about it. I can crochet a little bit, and that's about all I can do. But my aunt, I told her that I wanted some more knitting bags, and she found, she said, well, what do you like? And I showed her what I liked, and she made a pattern based off of looking at the bags that were my favorites that I had. And so every time we're out, if I see a fat quarter that I really like, I buy it and I give it to her, and she eventually makes a bag out of it for me. And so these are ones that she has made recently that I just love. So there's this one, which actually goes along with this is what my sock project is in right now. We found these at the quilt store that I bought my mom's quilt supplies at, and they come with some really cute coordinating fabric on the inside. This was all like for a baby quilt, I think. And I'm like, would make a great project bag. So yeah, and she puts an interface in them which makes them stand up nice. Stand up all by themselves, and the drawstrings work out best for both of us because it's easy for me to open and close it and not have to worry about anything getting caught in the zipper, and not having to put a zipper in is easier for my aunt. And so yeah. And then there's this one. Foxes are my favorite, so she picked this fox fabric up, and this is the inside, and this is another kind of a sock size bag. It's slightly bigger, but some of these were, like, we couldn't get fat quarters, so it was cut off the bolt, and so we could only get a certain size, and I was like, that's okay, you can make a bigger bag. Well, actually, she was like, would it be okay if I made a bigger bag? I said, yes, that would be fine. I have no problem with that. Here's another one that I absolutely love. Gosh, these colors I love. So foxes are my favorite, but woodland creatures, any woodland creature makes me happy. And then this has got like nice starry blue inside. There's this beautiful birds. Grays with pops of color make me happy. And grello, of course. How can you not love grello? And this is the inside fabric. This one also is a little bit bigger. Good for shawls. There's this gorgeous fabric, and she was like, unfortunately, the foxes are on the bottom. Like, that's okay. I like deers too. And this has got that on the inside. It's this beautiful kind of Christmas type. And we picked this nice red, which I absolutely love. So it goes along with these holly berries. And yeah. And then these were fat quarters that I found at Walmart, I think, when we were doing some shopping. So there's this one, which has animal prints on the inside, and this one, she was like, are you okay? It's very black. I said, I know, but all the colors pop out so nicely. And then on the inside, it is moose. And then there's this buffalo plaid with green moose. And then there were these two bags that were made by other people, but she altered them for me. This one, neither of them had they didn't have any interface, so they were very floppy, and I found that I just didn't use them very much because they were very floppy, but I loved the pattern and I loved the shape of the bag. So she was able to adjust them, basically. She altered them. So this birdie, this was originally made by Blue Tulips. And again, it was a very well-made bag. but I needed the interface. And this has got this pretty design on the inside. And then there's this one with foxes, with debonair foxes, and polka dots on the inside. Yeah. Oh, and then lastly, the Loopy U. When I went there, I posted on Instagram. I went there for the first time. It's in Fort Collins, Colorado. It's a great online retailer that I had purchased from for ages online and never had gone in. And I figured, I live an hour away from it. I should go in to the store inside. So they used to sell fabric a lot, and I guess they're discontinuing that. So they had a couple of panels and stuff that were on sale, and this I think was for a baby quilt, but I just liked the colors, and so I picked it up, and she made a bag out of it for me. There's still pieces left, so I can probably get another one. I do have a slight complaint. I don't know if you guys can see all that fuzz on it, but my winter coat is fleece. It's like a pea coat type thing, and when I have this on my purse, which is a crossbody messenger bag, it rubs against my coat, and this bag for some reason just attracts all the bits of wool off of my jacket. Okay, so that's it. I don't know if you guys enjoyed that, but there you have it. And that is the end of the podcast. So have a wonderful rest of your week. Enjoy each other, love each other, and happy knitting. Bye.